There is a lie almost every man absorbs without realizing it. A quiet belief repeated by culture, institutions, and social pressure until it feels like common sense. It says that if a man reaches older age without a wife or children, he has failed. That without a family, his future is empty. That solitude is decline, and marriage is proof of maturity. But this belief was never designed to help the individual man thrive. It was designed to keep society stable, and what stabilizes society often comes at the expense of the individual. Look closely at men over 50 today. Many who stayed single, protected their time, energy, health, and autonomy do not look lost or broken. They look lighter, more alert, more composed, more alive. At the same time, many married men of the same age appear exhausted, inflamed, and psychologically worn down. This difference is not accidental, and it is not emotional bitterness. It is biological. The human body does not age simply because time passes. It ages because of chronic, unresolved stress. When stress becomes constant, the body produces cortisol continuously. Cortisol does not only affect mood or sleep. It accelerates cellular aging by shortening telomeres, the protective structures on DNA responsible for cellular repair and longevity. When these shorten faster, the body recovers slower, immunity weakens, and decline begins earlier. The most damaging stress is not sudden danger. It is persistent psychological friction, unresolved conflict, constant emotional negotiation, being monitored, being corrected, being needed without relief, living in a state where the nervous system never fully disengages. For many men, modern marriage becomes exactly that. Not partnership, but permanent exposure. No silence, no psychological refuge, no true rest. The nervous system remains activated year after year. Now contrast that with a man who lives alone by intention. He controls his environment. He chooses his rhythm. He decides when to engage and when to withdraw. His home becomes a low-stress zone rather than a battlefield of expectation. In that environment, the body responds differently. Inflammation lowers, hormones stabilize, sleep deepens, cellular repair improves. Aging slows not because responsibility was avoided, but because unnecessary stress was removed. Solitude in this context is not loneliness. Loneliness is being trapped in a life that no longer feels like your own. The question most men never stop to ask is this: what if aging badly is not caused by being single, but by living too long without sovereignty? Aging is not only about time, it is about biological signaling. And one of the strongest signals governing how men age is testosterone. Testosterone is often reduced to crude stereotypes, but in reality it is a master regulator of male vitality. It influences muscle preservation, bone density, insulin sensitivity, motivation, cognitive sharpness, confidence, and emotional resilience. When it drops, the entire system slows down. What most men are never told is this: testosterone is not only shaped by age, it is shaped by environment and behavior. The male body adapts to the life it is forced to live. When a man's daily existence becomes predictable, constrained, and psychologically subordinate, his biology responds by conserving energy. Risk-taking decreases. Drive weakens. Exploration fades. Testosterone follows the same downward curve. This is not a moral judgment. It is an evolutionary response. In long-term domestic environments, especially those defined by constant obligation and limited autonomy, the male nervous system receives a subtle but persistent signal. Vigilance is no longer required. Competition is no longer necessary. Exploration is no longer rewarded. The body adapts by downregulating the very hormones that once supported strength, ambition, and resilience. Over time, this shows up as fatigue, weight gain, loss of muscle tone, reduced libido, mental fog, and emotional flatness. Men often mistake this for normal aging, when in reality it is contextual aging. Compare this to the single man who remains active, self-directed, and responsible for his own survival, growth, and outcomes. His lifestyle continues to demand engagement with the world. He must regulate his discipline, maintain his health, and create structure without outsourcing responsibility. His nervous system remains alert but not trapped. His biology stays responsive. Testosterone thrives in environments where effort matters and agency is preserved. This is why many single men over 50 who train regularly, pursue meaningful goals, and live deliberately maintain physiques, energy levels, and mental sharpness that surprise people. Their bodies have not received the signal to shut down. Domestication is not about marriage itself. It is about loss of agency. When a man no longer feels in control of his time, decisions, and direction, his internal chemistry shifts to match that reality. The body always aligns with perceived status and autonomy. This explains why two men of the same age can look radically different. One appears inflamed, sluggish, and disengaged. The other looks lean, alert, and grounded. The difference is not luck. It is biological adaptation to lifestyle. Testosterone does not disappear because a man gets older. It disappears because his life no longer requires him to remain fully alive. A man who preserves autonomy preserves the hormonal foundation of youth. Most men underestimate how much their aging is decided at night. Not metaphorically, biologically. Sleep is not rest, it is repair. During deep sleep, the body releases growth hormone, clears metabolic waste from the brain, repairs tissue, stabilizes emotions, and recalibrates the nervous system. This is when aging is slowed or accelerated. The problem is not that men sleep too little. The problem is that they sleep poorly. Fragmented sleep is one of the fastest ways to age a male body. Every interruption triggers a stress response. Heart rate rises. Cortisol spikes. The body exits deep recovery mode and shifts into alertness. When this happens repeatedly, night after night, the hormonal damage compounds. Many men over 50 live in environments that constantly disrupt sleep without realizing it. Irregular schedules, emotional tension, nighttime disturbances, and environmental noise all interfere with the body's ability to reach sustained, deep sleep. Over time, this leads to reduced testosterone, higher inflammation, insulin resistance, cognitive decline, and emotional volatility. The man feels older, not because he is old, but because his body never fully recovers. Sleep quality directly influences how young a man looks, how clearly he thinks, and how resilient he feels. Now consider the man who controls his sleep environment completely. He sleeps on his own schedule. He designs his space for silence and darkness. He wakes without alarms or emotional residue. His nervous system learns to trust the night again. This produces longer periods of deep sleep, more consistent circadian rhythms, and more efficient hormonal cycling. Growth hormone peaks properly. Cortisol drops to baseline. The brain clears stress-related byproducts that accumulate during the day. The result is not just better rest, it is slower aging. Men who sleep deeply recover faster from training, maintain lean muscle more easily, and retain mental sharpness well into later decades. Their faces look less inflamed. Their movements remain fluid. Their emotional regulation improves. Sleep deprivation does not just make a man tired. It ages him structurally. Poor sleep alters gene expression related to inflammation and repair. Over time, this changes how the body allocates energy. Less goes to regeneration, more goes to survival. When a man regains control over his nights, he regains control over his aging trajectory. Sleep is not a luxury. It is a biological multiplier. A man who protects his sleep protects his youth. If this perspective resonates with you, you're not alone. This channel is for men who question the narratives they were handed and want to understand what actually shapes their lives over time. If that's you, subscribing keeps these conversations going. Quietly, honestly, and without filters. A man's rate of aging is closely tied to how much control he has over his own life. Agency is not a philosophical luxury. It is a biological necessity. When a man can choose how to spend his time, energy, and resources, his nervous system remains stable. Dopamine flows in healthy patterns. Motivation stays intact. The body remains responsive rather than defensive. When agency is slowly stripped away, the opposite happens. Many men over 50 live under layers of obligation they no longer question. Financial commitments, Emotional responsibilities, lifestyle maintenance, and unspoken expectations quietly dominate their daily decisions. Over time, the man adapts by shrinking himself. He stops initiating, he stops experimenting, he stops imagining alternatives. This psychological contraction shows up physically. Chronic tension increases, inflammation rises, energy drops. The body begins conserving rather than expanding. Money plays a major role in this process. For many married men, this stage of life coincides with peak financial extraction. Mortgages, tuition, healthcare costs, lifestyle inflation, and long-term commitments absorb income and attention. Financial pressure keeps the stress response active even in moments that should be restful. The body does not distinguish between emotional stress and financial stress. Both activate the same survival pathways. By contrast, the man who retains control over his resources experiences something different. With fewer compulsory obligations, he can allocate money toward health, training, recovery, learning, and meaningful experiences. He invests in longevity rather than maintenance. This creates a feedback loop where physical health supports psychological clarity, and psychological clarity supports disciplined living. Agency restores a sense of authorship over one's life. Men who feel like authors age differently than men who feel like caretakers of systems they no longer control. This does not mean responsibility is harmful. Responsibility becomes harmful only when it removes choice and replaces purpose with duty. When duty outweighs meaning, stress becomes chronic. When stress becomes chronic, aging accelerates. A man who preserves agency preserves adaptability. Adaptability is youth expressed over time. Control over one's direction, resources, and daily decisions is not selfish. It is regenerative. Men age fastest when they live as passengers in their own lives. The final misunderstanding that shapes how men age is the confusion between loneliness and solitude. Loneliness is deprivation. Solitude is possession. A man can be surrounded by people and still feel hollow, unseen, and psychologically isolated. Another man can live alone and feel grounded, purposeful, and internally full. The difference is not company. The difference is alignment. Many men discover too late that constant proximity does not guarantee connection. Living with others does not automatically produce intimacy, peace, or meaning. In fact, for some men, long-term relational environments slowly erode their sense of self. They begin to censor thoughts, suppress impulses, and trade authenticity for harmony. This internal division is exhausting. The body experiences it as threat. When a man lives in contradiction to himself for long periods, stress becomes embedded. Muscles tighten, breath shortens, the mind stays vigilant. Over time, this internal pressure accelerates aging in ways that no supplement or routine can fully reverse. Solitude, when chosen intentionally, does the opposite. It removes the need for constant self-editing. It allows a man to hear his own thoughts without interference. It restores a sense of internal coherence where behavior, values, and identity align again. This alignment is biologically calming. Men who learn to enjoy their own company tend to regulate emotions better, sleep deeper, and make decisions with clarity rather than urgency. Their nervous systems are no longer overloaded by social noise. They respond to life rather than react to it. This does not mean isolation. Healthy solitude often leads to intentional connection. Instead of forced proximity, a man builds selective relationships rooted in respect, shared values, and mutual autonomy. These connections nourish rather than drain. As men age, this distinction becomes critical. Quantity of social contact matters less than quality of psychological resonance. Superficial interaction increases fatigue. Meaningful interaction restores energy. Men who age well tend to curate their circles carefully. They protect their time. They invest in friendships that sharpen rather than soften them. They avoid environments that require constant performance or emotional submission. Spiritually, solitude often awakens something deeper. Without distraction, a man confronts himself honestly. He recognizes his limits, strengths, regrets, and remaining potential. This confrontation is not comfortable, but it is clarifying. It replaces fear with acceptance and confusion with direction. Men who pass through this phase often emerge calmer, less reactive, and more grounded. They stop chasing validation. They stop fearing judgment. They begin living according to internal standards rather than external approval. This internal authority changes how a man carries himself. His posture shifts, his speech slows, his presence deepens. People sense it instinctively. Aging in this frame is no longer decay. It becomes refinement. The men who age best are not those who avoided responsibility, nor those who surrendered themselves completely to it. They are the men who preserved sovereignty while remaining engaged with life. They live deliberately. They rest deeply. They choose carefully. And because of that, they age not with resentment, but with quiet strength. That is not loneliness. That is mastery over one's own life.